What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I am ImMakevelli, and today we got switch out. This is becoming the strangest free agency in NBA history. Let's get into it.
Did the Clippers do so right that convinced Kawhi Leonard to sign with them?
Well, they traded for Paul George tonight, and they are sending to Oklahoma City essentially a record collection of draft picks, 4 first-round picks, 4 unprotected future first-round picks, a protected future first-round pick, 2 pick swaps, and outstanding rookie point guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari for Paul George.
The 2019 NBA All-Star.
That is crazy, bro. That's crazy. You know it's crazy. Clippers could have had Shai right now, bro. If that trade might be one of the worst trades in NBA history if the Clippers don't get a championship out of it, bro. Kawhi faking injuries. Man.
Season was hyped to be one of the craziest we've ever seen.
Rings,
and how it actually panned out, going on
sucks being a Clipper fan.
4 years later is a great representation of that. These are some of the free agents we had entering that wild summer. Still one of the craziest I've ever seen. Not even to mention the draft, where we got Zion, Ja, Darius, 3 players that are all instrumental pieces to the new parity we have in the NBA today. We call LeBron the GM, which to me is always so fitting. And even his All-Star game teams represent that, ironically enough. Literally his whole 2018 starting lineup in the All-Star game found different teams that following offseason, and 3 of his reserves. That's insane. Now looking back at this crazy time in the NBA world, which wasn't that long ago, though it feels like it, it's wild how good this free agency turned for a select few of teams, but most importantly, how disastrous it turned for the majority of them. Today's video is sponsored by Mans.
The harder I think about it, the worse it gets. I don't understand it. In the end, it was about Kyrie and friendship, as you say.
Yeah.
But Kevin's still too young to opt for just friendship. Kevin Durant just made a huge mistake to me.
Kevin Durant, following that devastating Achilles tear where he really didn't even get a chance to defend that back-to-back NBA championship, he decided to join Kyrie in Brooklyn. A move that wasn't really that shocking based on how that last season in Golden State went. I made a whole video about them. I literally remember KD and Kyrie making that decision before free agency officially kicked off. So you knew KD was mentally gone. But now, looking at it 3 years later, it turned into one of the most ironic moves I think I've ever seen. KD left OKC because he felt like it was really just him and Russ, and the team plateaued with how they were constructed. Also, as we always say, KD just wanted to focus on hoops, and Golden State obviously afforded him that luxury, and it worked. But 3 years later, he finds himself in a situation that to me is 2 times worse than anything he experienced in OKC.
KD didn't want to just focus on hoops when he went to the Warriors, bro. He wanted an easy ring, bro. He wanted an easy ring, bro.
Say what you want about Russ. One thing he's been on every team he's ever been on is reliable and durable. For his first 5 seasons in the league, before he met Patrick Beverley, he literally played every single game of every single season. In Russ's span with KD, he played 92% of his games. Kyrie, for a multitude of reasons, has been the polar opposite of that.
46.
He's played less than 50%. When KD left OKC, he felt like he had too much on it.
Look at Kevin Garnett's bald-headed ass getting
less
shaked
than
and
50%.
baked.
When KD
Look at his bald-headed ass getting shaked and baked.
he left
out here,
OKC, he felt like he had too much on his plate, and with Golden State, it was going to be a lot more free with the structure they had. Okay, fair. In his OKC career, he played the 2nd most minutes of anybody in that span, almost 38 minutes a game. In Golden State, obviously, he was able to lower that with his productivity not being so urgent for regular season games. Well, now from last season where it was a mess, and this season where it continues to be a mess, he's right back to OKC days at 37 minutes a night. If you want to know how much of a backtrack KD's move actually was, if you take out that year Russ got injured by Beverly and KD missed because he had that Jones fracture in his foot, He made the conference finals 7 straight years in the West. Since he joined Kyrie in the Eastern Conference, he hasn't been back since. I will never forget when Lisa Leslie called Jimmy Butler's move to Miami selfish.
Butler, Miami. You're a fan or not a fan?
Jimmy Butler, look, I'm just going to be honest. My opinion, a very selfish move for him to leave a team when you talk about the 76ers who possibly had an ability to go and win, especially in the Eastern Conference. He decided to take this.
I still don't understand how Philly let Jimmy go. I don't understand the niggas saying that they paid Tobias over Jimmy. Oh my God, I don't understand why you would do that. Tobias has been a role player his whole entire career. This nigga Jimmy was... Y'all already know about Jimmy.
Talent down to
Miami. Like, I don't be know what be going through these decision makers' minds, bro.
Miami, right? But to go down to Miami,
niggas in the Philly front office still ain't fired Doc Rivers, even though he's shown time and time again he's not it, bro. He's not it, bro.
Where you're sort of the star. Hey, you know, lights, camera, action. I think that's what Jimmy really wanted. Kind of a loser move for me, but hey, best of luck to you, Jimmy. Ball out.
Fast forward 3 seasons later, where he's averaged his 3 highest assist totals with Miami, showing that he literally just wanted to maximize his potential with a franchise that aligns more with his personality, which he has. And since joining Miami, he's made an NBA Finals in his first year and 2 conference finals, while the team he left hasn't made either one of those. And not to mention, he beat Philly in the process last year. Speaking of Philly, this was the offseason where they ruined the NBA, or in other words, paid Ben Simmons. Now, to Philly's defense, they had no reason not to pay Ben Simmons. They just lost Jimmy Butler, and he was a promising player where everybody was banking on that potential. But after he got paid, let's look at exactly what's happened ever since. Still made All-Star teams and was a great defensive player, but he's progressively gotten less aggressive even after losing Jimmy Butler. The following season, missed the entire playoffs where they got swept even after.
Bro, look at these field goal attempts, bro. How does your field goal attempts go down? From 12 shots a game, 12 shots, 11 shots, 10 shots, all the way down to 5 shots.
Losing Jimmy Butler. The following season, missed the entire playoffs where they got.
I have been seeing that Ben Simmons has been playing pretty well in the Nets over the past like 2 games. Net fans, don't get used to it. Don't get used to it.
Swept, not his fault. You can't blame anybody for getting injured. But then the next season, they got the first seed, blew a 3-2 lead to Atlanta, surprisingly, and he essentially got exposed. And then last year, he pouted and abused the player empowerment. It's just progressively gotten worse for Ben. And then this year, and I know he's coming off an injury, but we throw a parade because he had his season high 15 points 16 games into the year. But Ben is not the only player that offseason that kind of fell off after being paid. A player that I used to love, D'Angelo Russell, his may have been worse. He had his breakout year on his contract year, like everybody does. And then he got paid, got traded twice, and has really been a disappointment ever since.
Dang, so is that facts? When niggas be getting paid, they be playing trash? Because Poole just got paid, and he's been having an ass year.
The best thing...
Or is he just having an ass year because he got knocked out at the beginning of the season?
He's done, in my opinion, since being traded. Was scored 52 on his future team, Minnesota, which probably urged them to make that trade, gifting Andrew Wiggins to Golden State. And we know how that's panned out. Since being in Minnesota, his first real year, he battled injuries, only playing 42 out of the 72 games. Okay, last year in the regular season, he was decent, but he's always inconsistent. And then in the playoffs, he was awful. Last year in the playoffs against Memphis, and if y'all remember, this is when I was done with him.
Horrendous.
He only scored over 12 points one time. He didn't shoot 50% in any of the games, and he had the lowest PER out of anybody that played any significant minutes. How does that happen? And then this season, yeah, he had a great game against Cleveland, but it's like he followed up last year's playoffs with like a playoffs deluxe. Everything with this man has been moments. Like he'll have a game or two where he's clutch and seal the game, and then he'll have consecutive games where he's like the worst player on his team. This is my last time saying this because I don't want to keep piling on Kemba, but the greatest thing Michael Jordan has ever done for Charlotte was not trap himself with Kemba Walker's contract. In 2019, Kemba Walker was eligible for near a supermax, and Michael Jordan wanted him to take a 15% discount on just a regular max deal. Fast forward 3 years later, the player Kemba Walker was essentially replaced with Terry Rozier. He's been solid, and unfortunately injuries, it has Kemba Walker out the league.
Damn. So you put Kawhi Leonard and Paul George out there. That could be one of the great defensive teams of all time.
Can I ask you a question about Paul George?
Real quick, yes, but that's the best defensive twosome since Jordan and Pippen. I'm talking about Leonard.
Paul George said he was.
The Clippers. The funny ass Clippers.
That would be fact.
That offseason, they traded away 5 first-round picks and 2 first-round swaps, essentially for Paul George and Kawhi. I don't know why people leave out the Kawhi because obviously it was for them both. And so far for the Clippers, I don't care what any Clippers fans say about them making their first Western Conference Finals appearance without Kawhi even playing. What does that even mean? It's been a massive disappointment. Out of the 242 games that they could have played, they've only played 83 games together. That's almost a third of the games. In the 3 seasons prior to them getting Kawhi and Paul George, they made 2 out of 3 playoffs and won 57% of their games. Well, since getting Jordan and Pippen 2.0, they've won 61% of their games and made 2 out of 3 playoffs. Nobody was thinking about the playoffs when they made this move. It was championship or bust, and they haven't come close. Okay, we understand they gave away 5 first-round picks and 2 swaps. It was a haul. Okay, yeah, we understand that. Cool. Take the picks out of it. If you just look at the 2 players they traded, Shea and Danilo Gallinari, those 2, they've scored more total points combined than Paul George and Kawhi in that same span since being traded. And they've both battled injuries just like Kawhi and PG. My respect for Kawhi won't even allow me to say this trade is like all-time bad because I still believe in the Clippers if he plays. But that's always the caveat with this man, if he plays. That offseason, the Lakers kicked off like the new duo trend by getting Anthony Davis. And even though they're struggling right now and the Pelicans can possibly get Wembanyama simply off this one trade alone, I'll never be able to say anything truly bad about this one trade. Rob Pelinka and LeBron, they messed this up after getting Anthony Davis. But in their first 2 seasons together, LeBron and AD won 75% of their games while they played, and they won an NBA championship. It sucks that we couldn't see that duo's full potential, but the trade itself wasn't dumb. The greedy shit they did afterwards was the dumb part. And lastly, Klay Thompson. They paid this man a gigantic salary, even after he tore his ACL in the finals. Clearly, this contract was like back pay for everything Klay gave this franchise prior to that injury. And that was very respectable to me. Before Klay tore his ACL, he played the second most games since entering the league. And if you add the playoffs, he played the most. But unfortunately, since he got paid, the contract does look a little rough now. The first 2 years, we get it. He tore his ACL, devastating, then came back and tore his Achilles, even more devastating. Basically, he got paid to rehab for those first 2 years, which, again, I respect. But then,
sheesh, bro, imagine getting paid 60+ million to rehab. Woo.
Last year, he came back on a $37 million cap hit, and he did help them win the championship. Had his bad moments, but he did help. But now, I feel like they're starting to pay for it because in 2022, they're paying Klay Thompson $40 million, and then next year, another $43 million. Imagine if Klay made around half that, like Andrew Wiggins, who's actually better than him. I feel like 1, they could keep that big 3 together if they so pleased, and 2, they could fill out that roster a little better instead of paying Steph and Klay almost $100 million when only one of them is really worth it. Again, respect it, and Klay definitely earned it in his prime, but they're definitely feeling it now. If you guys like this video,
Hey, W video. If y'all enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. You new, road to 10K.